Hi, I'm Carissa Anthony. I'm with Homewood City Schools, and I'm here to introduce Deb Schneider, who is the director of the CHIPS program, which is Children's Hospital Intervention and Prevention Services. And we are very fortunate here that we have Children's Hospital and all their various services offered to our community. Back in 2015, the state legislature passed Aaron's Law, which actually required public education institutions to have sexual abuse prevention lessons in school. So we are fortunate to have CHIPS, they're experts in this area, provide this to our students. So what you're about to see today is Ms. Schneider basically going over what will be covered with secondary level students, kind of a general overview. If you have any questions at the end, we'll certainly hear those, and I'm sure she'll be feel free to answer those for you. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and then we'll have time at the end for questions.
Thank you. I just first wanted to say, as soon as the mandate was passed, Aaron's Law, Homewood City Schools was right on it, getting everything good to go and making sure that the students were being provided what they needed. CHIPS, like Ms. Anthony said, is Children's Hospital Intervention and Prevention Services, and basically it's a nice way to say we're the Child Abuse Center. At CHIPS, we see children for forensic medical exams. We also have therapy for the children and non-offending caregivers. And then the P in CHIPS is for prevention. And basically that is something that I've always been very passionate about. I also have a colleague that works with me, Joe Davis, who has also been working with the school systems in the area to provide these services. Today, while we're filming this, Joe is actually out of school, so I am going to do this by myself today and hopefully do a good job. But the problem, the scope of the problem is so big, and just to give you an idea, I have one blue fingernail because 1 in 10 children will experience some form of sexual abuse before the age of 18. And blue is the color for child abuse awareness. I also have this particular finger with the blue polish on there because it's the weakest finger. It's also my ring finger that's supposed to be the closest to your heart. But if you think about that number, that is just staggering, 1 in 10 kids. We at CHIPS serve infants through 17-year-olds. So we also see infants with suspected sexual abuse. Average age that we see is probably about 8 and 9-year-olds. And the issue with suspected sexual abuse is that kids don't tell. They're told to keep things like that a secret. They don't know what to do. They are taught what to do if there's stranger danger. But the majority of kids that are sexually abused, most of the time it's someone that they know. A lot of the time it's someone in their family. So they are not equipped to handle the situation when it's someone that they know. Part of what we want to address with the students is how to avoid getting in a situation like this, and if they do find themselves in this bad relationship, what to do about it. So basically we teach a action plan that we ask them to try to get away, initially try to say no if they can, and then to tell someone and to know it's never ever their fault. And we learned the hard way. We used to say no, get away, and tell, but if the kids couldn't say no or they weren't able to get away, then they weren't telling. So we added the try component, and that it's never, ever, ever their fault. So when we look at telling, we want them to be able to identify at least 3 trusted adults. We ask that one of those adults not to be in their family, because what we've seen over the years, those of us in this field, is that if it's happening within the family's going to keep it a secret, and then it moves on to the next generation and the next generation. So we may have a household with 3 generations where sexual abuse is taking place. A lot of children don't even know that this is not the norm until they get to school. And a program like CHIPS or a teacher that's educating students lets them know. We try to avoid nicknames or slang words for what we refer to as the private parts. And that's the only language that we use is private parts. So even with the older students, I'm just going to introduce myself and let them know that is the language that I will be using. When talking with the middle and high school students, we will not be doing any form of sex education. It's just teaching them the signs, the tricks that are used, and what to do if they find themselves in these situations. So as part of talking about sexual abuse, there is the issue of sexting, human trafficking, and when we talk about sexting, we will use terms, inappropriate images. The legal term would be child pornography, but we don't want students, especially if they're just made this mistake already by sending inappropriate images of themselves, thinking that they like somebody or it was a joke or a dare, and we're seeing that happen a lot. So we're going to just let them know in the future those images can resurface and how that can affect them, even with trying to join a sorority or fraternity, or we've even seen it come about where it's interfered with someone applying for a job. So we're going to just try and let them know, try not to make this mistake, because they think they're invincible, that's their age, and they think if they delete or they only send it to one person, they're being naive, thinking that person is not going to send it out and then it's not going to get sent out again. And what we know in this field too is that those images can then unfortunately be bought and purchased by perpetrators when children think it's just an innocent thing or a joke, but we know that these images can be out in the world for years. So there's a story that I tell the students about a 4-year-old that was tricked with what we call bait, and she was baited into taking pictures with no clothes on when she was 4, and those images were still floating around when she was 22. So we just kind of used this innocent little 4-year-old that for a bag of M&Ms allowed a family member to take these pictures. All the situations that we talk about, we try to end with a positive note that the children get help or they are able to overcome the situation that we're in, because the whole point of Aaron's Law and this education is to empower the students so they'll know what to do if they get in this situation. We will send information home to parents and guardians, just even talking about teachable moments. Currently, there's an Amber Alert that's been on the news, I think everyone's heard about. That is the most opportune time to talk to students about staying safe and inappropriate relationships or secrets. We tell the little kids that there are no good secrets, because little children can't really distinguish between a good secret and a bad secret. Now we know by the time we get to middle and high school, students are probably going to go to one another with any uncomfortable situation or anything that feels awkward first. So not only will this information help a child or student that's in this bad relationship, it could be that your child ends up being the best friend and helps another student know what to do. Most of the time, when we ask kids who are their trusted adults, they do name their parents. So I think that makes a lot of people relax, and we do not defer from that. We think that is the perfect answers. But we do ask that they have at least one adult outside of the family. Oftentimes, they're going to say a teacher, because a teacher is someone that they're with on a regular basis and that they feel like that they know and hopefully have a trusting, open relationship with them. When we talk about the bait, as I said, with a 4-year-old, it was a bag of M&Ms. But we know, and we've unfortunately learned from the perpetrators and the kids that have been abused themselves, the bait that's going to be used in middle school and high school, one of the most used is fame. This is how I can make you famous. I'm gonna get you on TV. I'm gonna take pictures of you and I'm gonna get those to a producer and we're gonna get you an acting job. That's also what human traffickers do when they approach students that they might see in the mall or the movie theater. So we're gonna talk about the bait that's used. We also aren't gonna insult them because the same bait that people use on middle schoolers and high schoolers, they use on adults as well. So we try to let them know we're not thinking they can't handle themselves, we're just educating them like we would educate the general public. Sexual abuse is so much more than just touching. So we have the inappropriate images, we have videotaping, we have the written word. We might also have slander in social media or any threat of that in social media. So that's something else that we'll address with the students. The other thing based on the law is peer-on-peer. So we will also discuss if you are a senior dating a freshman and there are any type of activities that may be listed as inappropriate based on the law, we will let them know that and try to just get them to understand the age difference and that can be considered statutory rape. So we try to address the laws with them. And most of the kids that we've talked to already are absolutely naive. They had no clue with anything, based on the law. We're also going to look at bullying, and I know that's a hot topic now, but what we see is that sometimes with the sexual abuse, or if there is inappropriate images, then the bullying will also start. So we tell stories, the actual cases that have happened where a kid made a mistake, sent someone that she thought she had a crush on, inappropriate images of herself, and then he showed it to his girlfriend. And then she started bullying this child on social media along with all of her friends. So we try to do all that with everyday situations that they're involved with. Even if we're discussing anything with human trafficking, it's, could be at the mall or the movie theater, like I said before. We're going to talk some about internet safety because I know the students through Homewood have already had this education, but we're going to show how it's involved in what we do at CHIPS and with sexual abuse prevention. The kids will be interactive. They will have opportunities to ask questions. They typically will tell their own stories or something they've seen on television, or our favorites are, well, Miss Deb, what if? What if? And that lets us know that they're getting the topic, and with their questions that we're attempting to answer, they're giving us the daily situations that they find themselves in. So we have had the pleasure of working with the kindergarten, second, and fourth graders, and we're very excited, Ms. Davis and myself, to start working with the middle and high school students as soon as possible. And if you have any, questions, you can contact us at the CHIPS Center. You can go on our website, or you can call me at 638-2752. 638-2752, that's my direct line, and I will be glad to address any questions or concerns that you may have.
Is there anyone that has any questions in the audience?
Anyone sitting here have any immediate question or comment or concern? That's usually what we address are the concerns. Okay, thank you.